Hi there, my name's Tom Craggs. I'm Runner's World coaching columnist, and I'm here to answer all of your marathon questions. Fueling your marathon is going to be absolutely critical, and you need a strategy that you've practiced in training. In terms of how many gels you should be taking on board, well, it depends on the type of gel you're taking. Some of the more modern gels have a much higher density of carbohydrate in them, up to 40 grams of carbohydrate per gel. If you're taking one of those, you might be taking 1 to 2 an hour, and that'll leave you in a really, really good spot on marathon day. I'd definitely be recommending getting those in from the start of the race. So you might be taking a gel in every 20 to 30 minutes as you move through on race day. Of course, there are other options. You can be taking on carbohydrate drinks if you find you don't get on well with gels. There are carbohydrate chews. There are all sorts of different options available to you. But the key is to practice what you intend to do on race day in your key training runs. If you don't do that, you can't expect your body to respond well. So practice in training, make sure you're getting a nice high density of carbohydrates, and it will see you in a great spot. Well, firstly, strength training is definitely a really supportive type of training to allow you to run more healthily and perhaps a little bit quicker on race day. The types of different strength training you can do are really going to depend on your starting point. For some people, a little bit of core and yoga might be plenty enough as you build up to your first marathon. For some people, a circuits type training where you're doing body weight exercises like planks, like body weight squats, like lunges can be great, perhaps once or twice a week. If you're a little bit more experienced and perhaps you want to take things a little bit further, weighted exercises where you're shifting load in exercises like squats, like deadlifts, like Bulgarian split squats can be really, really effective, ensuring that your body's more robust and that you're able to run a little bit quicker. Where you drop your strength training in your running week is quite an individual and a personal decision. Now, if you're doing perhaps body weight exercises like a core class or a yoga class, then there's no issue with adding that work on the same day that you do some of your easy ones. That's absolutely no problem at all. If you're doing heavier strength training, perhaps you're lifting weight in a gym through bigger exercises like squats and deadlifts, I'd definitely steer clear of doing those on the same days that you do hard runs, interval sessions, long runs, and perhaps you might want to drop those on days when perhaps you're not running at all, or certainly on your easy run days. The one thing to guard against is arriving at your strength training already fatigued from your running, because we want you to do those exercises really well with good technique to help protect your joints and make sure you get the most out of them. So think carefully about where you schedule your strength training, and certainly if it's body weight training, crack on, do it frequently, and it will see you really right on race day. The taper is as much an art form as it is a science, and I definitely suggest to look back and reflect on your previous races and what you've learned from those. For most people, a good starting place is a gradual cut back in your training volumes and your training intensity over the course of 2 to 3 weeks. I wouldn't do it for any longer than that, because you risk losing some of that precious fitness that you've built up over these weeks and weeks of training. For some people, you can get away with a little bit less, perhaps 10 days to 2 weeks. But for most people, sit around that 2 to 3 week spot and you'll be in a really good place.